people, the headlines, the issues impacting you, all on This Week in Cincinnati on 9 on Your Side.
Welcome back, everyone. This morning we are talking with Jeff Berding, the general manager of FC Cincinnati, and we still want to talk a little bit more about site selection. You sort of touched on this, talking about how this would be a more holistic build out, not just a stadium, but sort of like its own little, I'm imagining its own little Wrigleyville around the stadium. So are any of those sites better, or maybe I should rephrase that and say, does Mr. Lindner want to himself develop these sites one more than the other?
No, we think they're all winning sites. We've said that consistently. People ask, well, which one do you prefer? And I say the one I can pull off, the one that I can make the biggest home run for our community. That's what's best for FC Cincinnati. That's what's best for our city. So we don't rank them. It's just a process of seeing how we can pull them together, and then if we're awarded the bid, get in there, talk to neighborhoods, talk to stakeholders, and see which one has the potential to be the greatest gain economically, quality of life for the community. I think that's what people would want of us, is to actually roll up our sleeves and get in there. It's just a little premature, and when we haven't even won the franchise yet.
Speaking of that, any indication when you will hear from MLS?
Well, Commissioner Garber said that it'll happen before the first preseason game, or before the first game, I should say, which is the beginning of March. So I would assume at some point in February. My hope would be it'd be right at the beginning, soon.
When I bet.
You know, I have a birthday February 8th, so
that would be nice. That would be birthday
cool,
present, wouldn't it?
That'd be awesome.
Yeah. It'd be better than anything I could get you, that's for sure. So it does look like, though, that Miami is going to get an MLS franchise.
It was always understood.
And so that does not affect Cincinnati's bid in any way, shape, or form?
No, the understanding was always that LAFC, a second LA team, would come on in this year. 18 is team 23. Miami was going to be team 24, and then they were adding teams 25 and 26 from Detroit, Sacramento, Cincinnati, and Nashville. So Miami coming in was always expected. It's still, there's going to be one more, and we're competing against Detroit and Sacramento.
I can be honest with you, I'm not completely up on this about Columbus and the Crew, and I'm not sure. Last I heard that things were not going well for as far as them moving away. Yeah. I don't know where that stands now, but does that affect anything that you might happen with MLS?
No impact. We're being individually evaluated in conjunction with Sacramento and Detroit. We're our own story here in Cincinnati. We've been enormously respectful of the Crew. They have a great club. And obviously they have some issues they're trying to work through.
So let's say you don't. I don't want to put any bad
That's
mojo
fine.
out there, but say you do not get awarded an MLS franchise. So what happens then for FC Cincinnati? Do you stay at Nippert, or then go for an MLS designation later and then a stadium designation, but a stadium later? What happens?
Well, look, we're thrilled with our partnership with the University of Cincinnati. Met with Mike Bone yesterday, the athletic director. It's a phenomenal partnership. We might draw 30,000 this year on average. So we're going to stay at UC. We're going to win a lot of games, hopefully win a lot of trophies, and have some parties on Fountain Square. So UC's great, and we'll stay there as long as we're in the USL. But obviously, if we want to move up a division to Major League Soccer, it comes with it a requirement to build a soccer-specific stadium. We're going to fund it on our own. There's going to be another round of MLS expansion to teams 27 and 28. I'm sure we would participate in that process.
Do you feel that you still have the support of the Hamilton County Commissioners and City Council at this point if they had to re-vote, for example, on the West End?
Well, you know, I used to be an elected official, so I'm not going to make predictions or speak for them. I've tried to keep the mayor and county commission president Todd Portune in the loop during this process. And I would share with you, when we were going through the initial process focused on Oakley, there was discussions of other sites at that time, other neighborhoods. You know, if we win the franchise, I would imagine there'll be a lot of euphoria in this town, and then the goal will be, and I would involve the council and the commission and the mayor, is, you know, if the only site that we can pull off is Oakley, we're going to do all the community engagement. We're going to do that, get the traffic study back, and we're going to do all we can to make Oakley an enormous home run. If there's more than one opportunity, then elected officials get to be involved with where do we think will be the best one. And I think that's a great conversation. I would like to think that people would think that's exactly how we should do it. We're going to build a $200 million stadium. Where can it do the most good for our community?
Okay, so let's say tomorrow you get the call. MLS says, guys, start planning a party. Where should we expect to party with FC Cincinnati on its MLS designation?
I don't know. That's a good question. I don't know just yet. I will tell you.
Because we'll all be just staking out those areas looking for any movement.
Well, the question would be to some degree is how many people do we think would come, and a public spot where you could get that many people. What's the weather like at that point expected to be? So there's a lot of considerations.
We keep hearing rumors. Duke Energy is changing colors and light bulbs and the whole deal.
I've heard all that.
Okay. Are you ready for this to be over, no matter what?
Well, I am, because there's a lot of work to do once the announcement. That's just the start of the process. If you will, the phase of the bid has sort of gone from January of 17 now into January of 18. I'm ready for this chapter to be over. We're going to have a great team this year regardless, but if we do have an opportunity to move up to MLS, we have a lot of work to do, and I'm ready to get to that work here soon.
Jeff Berding, General Manager, FC Cincinnati, thank you for your time. I know it is precious. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Tanya.